Meet your maker.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So it wasn't a dream after all. Oh, I don't even remember them strapping me down.
Oh, everything's spick and span. Nothing left to do, really.
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time indoors.
Oh, everything's spick and span. Nothing left to do, really.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
Ah, you're up. Yes. Looks like that collar fits you snugly enough. Nice bit of work, even if I do say so myself. Fair. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Dungeon? You have the gall to call my laboratory a dungeon? Oh, I'd be quite annoyed with you, if you didn't look so honestly perplexed.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good. Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those Source spells of yours? See what happens.
I'll need to write to headquarters right away.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it, see? The collar's function. It neuters you, of sorts. Makes you unable to cast Source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's.
this room? Or was he already here?
Good gods. There's been a murder here.
No known associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spend... Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Not with that collar on, you aren't. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Think about it. It's one of you who got killed, not one of us. We want to find who did it and bring them to justice. Who's your real enemy here? You let me know if you hear anything. Whoever did this is dangerous.
Did I leave my calipers?
No marks, no indications of a struggle.
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
How dare you classify this slopless food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs.
There's nothing else.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She eyes you quite seriously.
Not the future, no, but I can read the past in flesh. One of the perks of being an elf, you see. I'm quite good at it, too. I could lick your arm and tell you how you spent the night before last. Shall I?
She gives your arm a vigorous stroke of the tongue, efficient like a cat grooming.
You were in a cellar with other sorcerers. As everyone lay sleeping, you lay awake thinking of someone back home. A very special someone. You were reminiscing about the things you used to do together.
It was one of them. I know it. Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
Of course it is. The truth's right there, skin deep. But don't you worry, darling. Your secret's safe with me.
One of us wouldn't kill our own.
I don't lick and tell.
We just skip to the part I reassure you and you shut up.
The woman keeps rolling her dice.
Mad? No. Insufferable? Surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that? The Ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you, complaints from the sea itself.
And?
The fellow cocks his ear, listening.
How dare you classify that isn't anger. It's... I've seen more appetizing things.
He cocks his ear to the other side, then smiles.
There's nothing else I can make.
Anticipation.
Turnips
She
and
senses
water.
something.
All I was
I'd hold on to my breeches if I were you, mate. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe
Aha!
the Magister's more concerned than your...
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on the back, the other catches you before you lose your footing.
There. You heard it, didn't you? I knew it. I knew it. Aye, this is good news, boy. Good news.
I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Nest.
It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been traveling for, yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things coming out of plague-stricken pigs. No indeed, boy. But that ain't my final destination.
The dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
And I don't intend to do away with it. That'll be all. Thank you kindly, boy.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has the Magister's more concern than your appetite.
He continues stroking his beard, a beard...
You clearly don't know the first thing about sauce.
You one of them? A divine order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Nest. Your kind always hung closest to our divine, like wolves around a campfire.
you are, husband. Would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this loser woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical.
One of us will kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
How very correct you are, spouse of mine. Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb refuses to be confused with anyone else. What? What's so funny?
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from her with a laugh.
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? Like yourself, maybe. I don't mind the kiddies, usually.
It was one of them. I know it.
You put a knuckle in it. I'm trying to concentrate.
Nope, trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. Thanks, but I already belong to an elite and exclusive ship gang. We play ball every day after lunch. You're too soft for it. You take care, though.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear.
Good luck, Chief.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and takes your hand, turning it this way and that, examining it from every angle. Finally, he pinches your skin, gently tugging at it.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
What purpose did that serve? Was that a greeting? Was it... Oh dear. I seem to have crossed some cultural taboo. How... difficult. You have my apologies, human. Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us will kill our own.
Perhaps. Perhaps not. Understanding is all rather relative. Take this book, for example. I understand all of it, and yet none of it makes sense. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. Your books are too full of it already. No. I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a word.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell.
One of us will kill our
Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
Insufferable, surely.
I'm inspecting your teeth. In case that wasn't spectacularly obvious. There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle
Oh, goodness, no. And don't even mention the demon's testes that are turnips. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor?
Kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just...
Yes, I can tell from your vagabond chic, a bag is as good as a shirt kind of style. I shouldn't be getting my hopes up. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of... just as I thought. That explains what's besieging my nostrils. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you have the taste buds of a dung beetle, the fashion sense of a monkey in a clown suit, and your personal hygiene reminds one of a carcass rotting in the sun. That won't do at all, see? I'm sad to say I must deny you the opportunity to be my slave. Ever so sorry.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own.
I know, but you just don't have what it takes. A good slave's made of sterner stuff, I'm afraid. Still, hone your skills, and one day you may just qualify for a position in a...
No. Insufferable, surely.
I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind...
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard, Vic.
That right. I always knew you'd turn out rotten.
A scruffy man lounges against the wall with scarred arms folded. A sly smile playing on his face, he stares across at the Magister guarding him. Noticing you, he straightens and
Watch your back, new fish. There's a murderer on board, and I'd bet 3 months' pay it's this Trampifan.
Rolling his eyes at the Magister's warning, the man named Ifan beckons again. He leans in and adjusts your collar with a sharp tug, balancing its weight so it no longer presses unpleasantly on your neck. He winks.
Pinches less that way, right?
Hocking a phlegmy gobbet in your general direction, the sullen Magister settles back to his task of glowering at Ifan. And now, you.
We used to know each other, more's the pity. I was his commander many, many, many moons ago. Isn't that right, Vic?
Standing far back from Ifan, the tight-faced Magister draws one finger across his throat in an elaborate fashion, but says nothing. Ifan grins, flashing pointed white teeth.
Same as he was at 14 years old. Only difference is somebody gave him a bigger sword and now he's Johnny Big Pants. Long story. Maybe I'll tell you about it in the joy. Away from interested parties. No. The dead man, Finn, is it? I'd no business with him. And I wouldn't put a man down without good reason.